Don't be worried about what Big Cat's going to do.
And don't be worried about what Hank's doing. You have both of us.
I'm asking you what you've said in the past.
Jake, decide.
Tell me about your bracket.
2, 1.
Duke's winning.
No! Let's go! You fucking asshole!
Jake, that's your boss.
Damn it!
You know what you just
I
did?
understand.
On today's Pardon My Take, we are about to embark to New Orleans for the Final Four. We'll talk a little of that. We have Bruce Arians stepping down as head coach totally on his own volition. We have, Schefter re-signed. We'll catch up on all the news. We have Fyre Fest, and we also have a great interview in studio with Judd Apatow. We're going to do that all in a second. We are brought to you by our friends at Venmo. Venmo. Listen, if you are going out this weekend and you maybe, hey, someone's getting the drinks, someone's getting the meal, Venmo you later. That's the way to do it with Venmo. What's the longest time it took for you to pay someone back, Billy?
I'm part of the Venmo generation. I pay him back like this.
Bam. That's it right there. That's beautiful. That wasn't even part of the ad, and Billy just dunked on everyone. Are you going to pay us back the spreadsheet winnings?
Yes, as soon as I get them.
Love it. So that's what you do when you have Venmo, when you're paying friends back. Make sure you use Venmo. Reminder, they're giving out $100,000 to AWLs throughout the basketball season. Send a Venmo payment for any amount and include hashtag PMT in the payment note for a chance to win up to $500. If you win, screenshot your winnings, post it to Twitter or Instagram, and tag Pardon My Take. Venmo is the easiest way to send money to friends or receive money from friends. You can pay people back. You can pay it forward, whatever you want to do. If you use the hashtag PMT, it could be a cent. You could send 1 cent and use the hashtag PMT, and you would be eligible for up to $500 for free from Venmo. That's what they're doing all basketball season. So thank you to Venmo. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Pardon My Take, presented by Venmo. Use the hashtag PMT in any transaction during basketball season. They will send some of you a free $500. They're sending out $100,000 in free money to AWLs. Today is Friday, April 1st. I want Coach K to win. Haha, April Fools.
Good one.
Yep,
That's
got
a
it.
good one.
There we go.
Be very woke online today.
Yes.
The brands were silent over the past couple years. I feel like this is the year that they make a comeback. Where you remember the original one I remember everybody being fooled about was actually kind of pre-internet, where Taco Bell said that they purchased the Liberty Bell.
Yes.
Do you remember that one?
Yes. That was genius.
Genius move.
I can now say it because it's airing on April 1st. The greatest thing that's ever been said to me in the history of the world was when Frank the Tank came up to me on Monday and he goes, "So Big Cat, I'm working on my April Fool's joke." And I was like, "Go on, tell me everything." I will not tell anyone because I don't want to ruin it, but April Fools, be woke. We are in the studio right now. We are departing for New Orleans right after we record this. World War III, UNC Duke, Kansas Nova. Kansas Nova is it's so sad how much of an undercard it is. Mm-hmm. But UNC Duke, this podcast might change forever. The vibes. Hank, how are you feeling? By the way, we will be recording time capsules over the weekend to make sure that we have maybe even Saturday night drunk. If something crazy happens, we'll maybe record something.
This is a major future us thing because we are going to be out in New Orleans for most of the day, and then we're going to go to the game where they will be serving booze, and then we're probably
but it would
not
be funny
going to want
for the people.
It would be funny for the people. I will say.
Let's think about it.
I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking 70% we're going to do a time capsule.
I think it tells me that it's entirely dependent on the outcome of the Duke.
I would say that's fair.
Yeah,
that'd be fair to say.
Yeah,
that's a good bet.
My own proprietary algorithm has the chances of UNC winning at 70%.
Wow. So Hank, how are you feeling going into it?
I feel good. I basically base my feelings just on how worried you are, and day by day, it's kind of not to call you a crazy person, but it's like I'll come in and before I go up to the suit suite, I'll come over and see Big Cat, and he basically just starts. He's already talking to himself, just going through his list and like his ever-growing document of Coach K. Like today I walked up and he's like, "You remember Stephen F. Austin?" And I was like, "It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Like what? Yeah. Who cares?"
That was a crazy, crazy loss because it was at home and they were like not even close to being ranked. And the way that they lost at the last very second of the game on that layup.
But the memorable part was 3 days later when Coach K said that he was dealing with an illness during the loss, and that's why he wasn't feeling himself. So really, it doesn't count.
Verbal meme, you're the guy at the coffee table sitting there with the sign that just says, like, please come talk to me about anti-Duke rhetoric.
Okay.
And I will engage with you.
Okay, well, good. I'm happy you brought this up, Hank, because I live rent-free in your head. I have put together a document that our very talented colleague Quiggs is working on right now to fix up, where it will be a piece of paper, double-sided, that people can print out. It will be the size that you can put into your wallet that just has a list of everything that pisses me off about Coach K. So when you see a Duke fan this weekend, whether you're in New Orleans or in just regular life, you will have the information to fight back.
Do you have the fact that that he works at a private school, so there's no FOIA request possible?
Oh, well, I have a whole part that just Coach K cheats. Please note that everyone cheats. We don't care that people cheat in college basketball. But we just care the fact that no one calls out Coach K for cheating.
Do you have anything about his military service record?
I don't.
Yeah.
That part is blank. I do have a fun fact that I threw out there to some of the Duke fans. Since the pros started playing in the Olympics, how many coaches head coached multiple Olympic teams?
So Pop did it.
Yep.
Larry Brown, did he do it?
He coached, but I'm saying multiple teams.
How'd Larry Brown do?
Multiple teams.
Yeah.
I think if Larry Brown won as many gold medals as Coach K won, they would have never needed
teams,
Coach K.
PFT. Excuse me, the question was
sorry.
multiple
Phil
teams.
Jackson?
Nope. So the answer is just Coach K.
Oh,
so
interesting.
it's kind of an unspoken rule that a coach coaches the USA team, then lets someone else have a crack at it. Coach K coached it 3 times. Every other coach since pros started playing in the Olympics, 1 time.
That is interesting.
And here's a weird thing. I don't know if this is related at all, but Coach K's recruiting classes, when he started, averaged around 17th in the country. By the end of his 3 Olympic tour that is just completely ridiculous, he was averaging the 2.5 best class in the country. Maybe being able to like call LeBron James on FaceTime or Kobe Bryant probably helped a little bit.
Well, LeBron is basically a Duke alum.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. These are all these facts that I've armed you with. So make sure you take a look at that and print that out and make sure you walk around with that.
I just think that it would be the best possible ending to his career if he were to lose against UNC. If he loses in the championship, that's not as good to me.
Yeah.
I don't want him to. If he makes it the championship, you might as well just hand it to him because they're not going to let Coach K lose in the championship game.
No.
The perfect ending would be if he were to lose against his arch rival UNC. You'd have to say his career would be a disappointment if it ended.
Legacy tarnished. And we all know, like, Coach K doesn't care about money. He cares about the kids and championships. Because in 2004, he was offered the Lakers job, and he said the allure of coaching in college has no price. And then he went on to get paid double what Roy Williams got paid every single year for 17 years.
That is interesting. That's
interesting.
That's
It's
just
about
an
the kids.
interesting
It's just about the
fact
kids.
to write down.
Yeah, that's also in the sheet. So be on the lookout for the sheet.
I'm very excited. I think they're going to smoke UNC, and then I'm rooting
Why are
for...
you so confident about it? I'm actually very nervous. I'll be
Right.
honest with you. I do think that Duke is going to win the national title. I've kind of mentally prepared that in the back of my head. And so much so that, like, I have a future on Nova, and I'm rooting against myself because I think Kansas has a better chance of beating Duke than Nova shorthanded.
I think it's nice that Coach K elected to step away from the game and hand down his coaching ranks to one of his guys to let them take over, so that way they didn't have to fire him and then go about finding a new coach, doing the whole search. All of his assistants would have gotten fired. I think it's just very classy
That's
what
true.
he's done.
This obviously will be a tough look for me, but, you know, we've been to many of these events, Big Cat, you and I. And, you know, we've had stakes like this before, and I know how it goes. We know how it goes. We've done it before. You know, we'll do it again, and I'm just excited to relive that with you on Saturday night.
There should be some sort of wager involved.
I have so much emotionally involved at this point that I don't even have to bet the game. I'm rooting that hard. So Hank has to get a cat?
Yeah.
Okay. Win or lose.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Win or lose, Hank has to get a cat.
Hank's coming home from New Orleans. If you see Hank out and about in New Orleans, like it's kind of like the old part of my take rule. If you see Billy in public, slap him. If you see Hank out in New Orleans and you approach him with a cat, he has to take it. It's like getting ice.
He has to accept it.
Yeah.
He has to bring all the cats.
Take a knee, and then just rub your face on the cat.
Yeah. Bring Hank a cat in New Orleans. It's going to be great because we haven't been to a Final Four game, obviously, in a while. Live sports rule. We haven't been back to New Orleans since the LSU national champion. Basically, the start of COVID. That was the last non-COVID event we went to.
That was the last fun weekend in the United States.
Yeah.
Was that weekend.
Yes.
And I'm so excited. Actually, I made a quick checklist of things that I want to do right before the show started because New Orleans is my favorite city in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
Maybe the world.
Okay.
I want to eat something so spicy that I cry.
I like that.
I want to purchase and lose a souvenir giant alcohol container of some type.
Yep.
I want to get slapped in a bar.
Yep.
And
Bonk.
what? That's not a bonk. I just want to get
it.
not
Boy or girl?
Yeah, by a girl, obviously.
Okay.
Update it.
Yeah. And I want to make a friend named Cody.
Okay.
I feel like there's
Cody.
a lot of Codys running around New Orleans. I know a couple. I've actually met on 2 separate occasions in New Orleans. Good friends named Cody, and Cody's always a fun hang.
Yeah. Dude Perfect. Isn't there a Cody?
I think there are 2.
There might be. That's why they're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Hogs for Cause will be
Hogs
out
for
there.
Cause is going to be incredible.
Be at Walk-Ons on Friday and Monday.
On Friday and Monday.
Come out, say what's up.
Yep. We're doing, actually, this is a perfect time. We got a new sponsor alert. New sponsor alert. Raising Cane's, which we'll be doing some stuff with them down in New Orleans. Raising Cane's only has one love, craveable chicken finger meals. Order online at raisingcanes.com. This is the easiest ad I've ever read because who doesn't love chicken fingers?
Love it.
They're the best.
I love Raising Cane's chicken fingers. I think their first place outside of Louisiana was in Charlottesville, Virginia when I was living there. I went through the drive-thru. Their Texas toast changed my life.
Raising Cane's is a phenomenal place. I will be eating Raising Cane's this weekend for sure. Raising Cane's only uses the highest quality ingredients to serve our customers a great tasting chicken finger meal. Raising Cane's chicken finger meals are cooked to order to ensure they're hot and fresh every time. Order online at raisingcanes.com. I'm going to be eating so many chicken fingers I might turn into a chicken finger. Thank you to Raising Cane's. New sponsor alert. Raising Cane's only has one love, craveable chicken finger meals. Order online at raisingcanes.com. I think we're also going to meet the Raising Cane's dog, which I'm very excited about. And I will not be feeding him chicken fingers. I'm going to keep them for myself. He probably does eat chicken fingers, though, right? You'd imagine the Raising Cane's dog does.
Absolutely.
So, wait, what was I going to say? Oh, we're going to be at Walk-Ons. What else for New Orleans? I don't think you're nervous enough. You're confident. You're cocky.
I am confident.
He's cocky.
I am
Hank.
confident.
Well, so this is all right. So when Hank was telling
It's like
us,
one of those. It's like it's a scale,
Hey,
and Big Cat's fear is picking my confidence
okay.
up.
So what I've noticed in this dynamic is last week when it was the Texas Tech Duke game, the game of the year, Hank was walking around telling us how nervous we were, and that's how I can tell when Hank's nervous. Big Cat telling Hank that Hank isn't nervous enough is a sign to me that Big Cat's nervous.
I'm very nervous. I am so nervous. What's at stake here, and obviously it's not like I hate Coach K and you love Duke, but like I'm talking about for other fans. I'm nervous. I'm actually nervous for UNC fans and Duke fans alike, even though I hope Duke fans suffer. But like this type of game where the stakes could not be higher. I was trying to think about it. Like there are no what would be a similar situation in college sports? Because they end each other's season now. They never get to end each other's season.
It would be Ohio State, Michigan in the semifinals.
Yeah.
I also think a comparable one that you were involved on the right side on is like a perfect season. Like the fact that you guys, the Kentucky perfect season.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is the stakes were that high.
Yeah.
Like higher than just a regular game. Like they were super, super high because it's like a perfect season is hanging in the balance.
Yeah, so perfect season definitely has it, but like I know that the joke that we keep making is like, oh, they've never played. Have you heard that stat? But it is kind of crazy that they've never been in a situation where someone's season ends. Someone's season is completely over because like even when you look back, which it's crazy to look back at that game, Coach K's funeral at Cameron. I would say that neither of these teams would be here in the Final Four if that game didn't happen. Like UNC gained a lot of confidence, and Duke figured out like, holy shit, we can't just show up and beat people.
They got the chip on their shoulder in
Right.
that game. Now, if UNC wins, what are the chances that Coach K delivers a speech after the game? like saying goodbye. I want that. I absolutely would. I think he just leaves the arena, doesn't even talk to his own players. If he leaves,
he's probably going to invite himself into the UNC locker room and try to give a speech like he did when he lost to 14 seed Mercer, and he went and tried to coach the other team, and it just happened that all the cameras were there and caught that on camera.
And who was the kid that he said you're too good to be celebrating like that at the end of the game?
Well, which time? It was Dylan Brooks, and there was also
Brooks.
Virginia Tech in 2007 when he did that as well to Xavier Dowdle. So he went up to him, and he also lied about that one when they asked him afterwards. He's like, "No, I just said I congratulated him," and both players were like, "No, he scolded us."
Yeah, it turns out Xavier Dowdle was not too good to be showboating at the end. That's actually a perfect use of Xavier Dowdle's time.
Yeah, it turns out a college kid who has like the best night of their life is going to be happy about it.
Xavier Dowdle beat Duke. That's his career highlight. He was well within his rights to show off.
Do you know what a weird one that I found today that I kind of respect in a like fucked up way?
Where do you look for these? Can I ask that?
I have a sheet that I went off and then I added to it today.
But like, do you just go on Google and just like
message boards?
There's all different stories.
You go on
stuff.
You go on. If you search for like quotation mark DOOK in quotation mark, then you get to the good message boards of all the other ACC teams, and they have their own lists.
I think it was 20. I can't remember when it was, what year it was. Maybe 2020 or maybe 2019. Coach K said that the fans should have given them a standing ovation after they beat Florida State. And they don't know how to cheer correctly. And then he showed old clips of Cameron Crazies to the fans, scolding them, being like, "This is how you do it," which I like respect that kind of fucking senile craziness. Which he's not senile because he's been doing this his whole career.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
good for Coach. In a weird way, the sport will not be as enjoyable without Coach K.
I absolutely admit two things. One, he is the best college coach of all time. I will admit that. Two, I will miss him because I hate him so much. And that's what's the beauty of sports, is hating things is just as fun as rooting for things. And, it'll be fun. Jake, how are we feeling? You're credentialed.
I am very excited. Got my suits packed.
Suits, plural.
Yeah, it's Saturday and Monday.
Can you ask Coach K about
PFT?
Pete Gaudette?
What's up?
Are your suits packed?
My suits? Why would I be packing a suit? We're going on a work trip. I don't need a suit.
Yeah.
I thought that's your thing.
Doing a nice dinner.
Maybe I'll pack a suit.
Yeah.
You should.
You're talking to me. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to pack a suit.
Let's go.
There we go. Ask him about Pete Gaudette.
We can work out a question that's like in the middle of something you would ask and something I would ask, but not something that I would get weird looks at the press conference.
Okay, then here, how about this? Do this instead. Ask when Pete Gaudette took over for Duke because Coach K had such bad, debilitating back injury that he couldn't walk. Why then did Vince Carter go on a recruiting trip to Coach K's house and said afterwards he was up and about and he didn't seem like a guy who had a bad back problem?
That's interesting. That would be a good. I would want to hear the answer to that question.
I have so many facts.
As a
It's a little too far for me, but I'll keep thinking.
Aren't you happy, Hank, that I have found a passion?
I don't know. I'm worried about your health.
I am too.
No, this is fine because it's all building up for one moment, and then we're either going to get the ultimate crash.
There's passion, then there's obsession.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Listen, when Big Cat says like someone's living rent free in your house, that's fine. It's fine. Like having somebody live rent free in my head, if they're a famous person, is totally normal because it brings up the property value of the rest of my brain.
Yes.
To have somebody like that on my block. Yeah,
Good
sure.
point.
You can live. Yeah, LeBron can live rent free in my brain. That's totally fine.
I've been roommates with Coach K for the whole month. We've just been hanging out in my brain together. It's fine. I'm fine with that. There was one person who tweeted me that made me a little more nervous when he's like, all this legacy talk with Coach K, why aren't we talking about your legacy if Coach K wins the championship? And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it does tarnish your legacy.
My legacy's ruined.
Although, at the same time, it's good to have like something that you can always bring up in perpetuity against Big Cat if you're ever mad at him about something, to be like,
Don't do this.
He's the guy that got owned by Coach K.
Don't do this. Multiple times.
To a permanent extent.
Many times, yeah. But you're feeling good. This is your first Final Four you're ever covering?
Yeah, as with the credential. Yeah.
I love it. I'm so excited. Where do you think you'll be sitting on Saturday night? Way up top?
The roof.
Nosebleeds?
Anything but the roof. I mean, if I'm in the building, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
I'm
What if
expecting to be
what
in
if
the
you're
roof.
not? What if they're like, hey, we got a seat for you. It's actually in this truck, and you're gonna just watch it.
That would be interesting.
As long as you get the lanyard.
Yeah.
You should do a Diet Coke review.
Ooh.
You have to walk out with the cups. It's only the NCAA cups.
Oh.
They're strict on that. There's a sign in the tunnel.
All right. I want everyone should be following Jake this weekend, documenting everything because you got to document it all. It's gonna be great.
But I can go on the court pre and post game. That'll be
wow.
awesome. Yeah.
Wow. Would be a shame if you trip someone who's like 75-ish.
What are the rules about leaving banana peels in front of the coach's box?
I would like to bring a laser like they did to soccer players. That was crazy. Those lasers were nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was who was it in the NFL? Was it, I want to say the Raiders, and I want to say it was Connor Cook that got lasered in one game.
Was that the game in Mexico?
I think so. Yeah.
It's very funny to see someone getting lasered.
It's always a shock to me that it doesn't happen more often in the United States.
Yeah.
Either way, I'll be at Coach K's last ever press conference. Depends if it's Monday night after a win or a loss Saturday or Monday.
I don't think he's going to do a press conference if he loses.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Will.
I think he's going directly to his car and leaving.
Last post game press conference, I should say, because I guarantee he's going back to Durham for like an official.
Yeah, that's
farewell.
where around the friendly media, it's either people that have been sucking his dick for 30 years or new student journalists that he's too mean to, so they're afraid to ask him anything.
I like this PFT. Let's go. Let's
I mean,
get
sure.
that hate up.
Listen,
everything you said is true.
I liked Duke in the 90s, and then Coach K turned into a real weirdo after that. And I was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah. I really don't dislike Duke. I don't dislike Coach K. There's one person in this building is the reason why I want them to lose this year, and it's not Hank.
It's Marty.
Marty Mush.
Yeah. Contentious.
And I've been open about that. It's not like a secret
that's fair.
hatred.
This is good to get the hate out. Yeah, get the hate out.
Yeah.
Like it's hate week.
You know what?
It's good to have hate.
Like Coach K attracts people like Marty Mush. That's the biggest indictment that you can make on the guys. Like look at who Coach K's acolytes are. The real riders of Coach K. Scum. Scum.
The hate week is great. Billy, what do you hate? Give us something you hate. Because I've noticed all week, like I've been replying to people more on Twitter and like I've been at like a fever pitch all week. Someone pointed out to me, I was like, you know what? It is because I'm on high alert. It's not a normal week. This is World War III in college basketball. Billy?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Eat the rich, Billy.
Yes, Billy. Way to
football.
go.
Libby football over there.
Fucking love it, dude. Put a rose next to your name on Twitter. All right, what else we got to talk about? Bruce Arians. That was very expected, so much so that I think we talked about it many times.
So there are a lot of people out there that are mostly Bucks fans that are just reading the press releases and regurgitating what they're hearing, which is, oh, this was just a personal decision by Coach Arians to step away so he could get his guy Todd Bowles installed and they wouldn't have to do a coaching search and fire all the assistant coaches. Now, I think what really happened here is people with brains will agree that there was some sort of deal made between Tom Brady and the Glazer family when he went overseas to the soccer game and he told them that he was going to come back and then on the condition that Bruce Arians is no longer, because Bruce Arians is I like Bruce Arians. I think he's an awesome football guy and he's a hilarious individual.
Yeah.
But I also think that Tom Brady, after 2 years of dealing with Bruce Arians, basically calling him out and blaming him for losses, and Tom Brady being like, wait, I'm Tom Brady.
Right.
That is going to get old pretty quickly.
It's two things can be true at the same time. Bruce Arians is a great guy. Bruce Arians has done a lot for minority hires, for female hires. He's like very much from everything you read about Bruce Arians, the one time we interviewed him, he cares deeply about his staff. He cares about setting everyone up and like the success of the people that work underneath him, unlike maybe a Coach K with Tommy Amaker kind of thing. But Bruce Arians, like that can be true, and it can also be true that Tom Brady was like, yeah, I'm coming back, but Bruce Arians can't be my coach anymore.
Yeah, and people are saying like it's a coincidence. The report that, I forget the guy's name, it's NFL Stroud.
Yeah, he's a Bucks beat writer.
He's probably the most plugged-in guy
right.
with the Bucks, and he was saying that either the day that Tom Brady decided he was coming back or the day after was when Bruce Arians all of a sudden decided that he was also not going to be coming back next year. And it's like, wait, that's a pretty big coincidence. That the only thing that I could think of, Hank, and you'll appreciate this, that would be close to that is if maybe like somebody decided, or they started dating a supermodel like right after, like the day after they broke up with their pregnant girlfriend. That would be kind of a similar coincidence.
For a second there, I was like, wait, is this J-Lo or and Affleck? But I think he's talking about Brady.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Hypothetically. Like the day after. It's weird that he met Giselle like the second after.
Well, you would assume that. You would assume if that what you put forward that the person who got dumped would hate Tom Brady and would never say anything positive about him or support him, right?
No, well, it's funny you bring that up because in this situation, Tom Brady showed up to Bruce Arians' retirement press conference, sat in the front row, big smile on his face, put out a great statement talking about how wonderful of a person he is. Bruce Arians had nothing but nice things to say about Tom Brady himself, too. So I think...
Seems like you're a conspiracy theorist. Do you think the slap was fake, too?
No, I think the slap was very real.
Interesting.
I'm just happy that this is happening because when PFT started that joke, I was like, "Holy fuck, is he coming at A-Rod?" And then when I realized, I put my sword down and I was like, "Oof, I can sit this one out. You guys just go for it."
Now, to be fair, I haven't brought that up in probably like 4 years. I used to bring it up a lot more often.
Yeah.
And then like Bridget's just been nothing but supportive of him in the past 5 years, so it's kind of a tough sell.
No, it's just interesting. That's all. But I think anybody out there that's making the argument that this is a coincidence is just delusional.
Did you see that there's also I read somewhere that like Bruce Arians and the Bucks had to clear up one formality at the owners meeting, and that's why it was announced today. And it's like, wait, what? No, I think it's probably because you wanted to put 2 or 3 weeks in between Tom Brady coming back and Bruce Arians retiring. I mean, like I said, we all saw this coming. We talked about it. I don't think like Bruce Arians. I don't know what the criteria for Hall of Fame coach is, but he's an all-time coach. And I also think that Tom Brady was sick of dealing with him. Mm-hmm. And the Antonio Brown thing definitely plays into it. Because it's very clear this has happened twice now where Tom Brady has vouched for Antonio Brown, wants Antonio Brown on the team because guess what? Tom Brady's a psycho competitor in the best possible way, and he wants basically like as much help to win a Super Bowl, and Antonio Brown would have helped them win a Super Bowl. So when that falls out, it's probably like, well, fuck you, dude. Why couldn't you just figure it out with Antonio Brown? He's a really good receiver.
And I also fully believe that we're never going to hear from Bruce Arians or Tom Brady or the Bucks anything to the contrary of what they've already said.
Correct.
Which is like, this is the story that we're going to stick to. But I also think that, you can add one and one together and see exactly what's happening.
Yes.
Also, Todd Bowles coming back.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles, my top 10 NFL head coach.
He might be right away with his team.
Sometimes you just say things out loud if you have a take, and then you look dumb for a couple years after the fact. But then if you wait long enough, guess what? That take's coming back around if he wins a Super Bowl in his first year with Tom. I don't think any head coach has won a Super Bowl in their first year with Tom Brady ever.
No, wait. Was that the first year?
Was it the first year?
Yeah, that was the first year. That was definitely the first year.
Well, Todd Bowles also won. Todd Bowles would become
as most recently as could be.
Todd Bowles would be the first coach in NFL history to win 2 Super Bowls in their first 2 years with Tom Brady.
Yeah, yes. I mean, Todd Bowles is one of those guys. Like it will be fun to see how he does this year because it's one of those experiments that we get ever so often where it's like, was it the Jets or was it Todd Bowles? Mm-hmm. Like when we got Sam Darnold going to the Panthers, it was like, was it the Jets or Sam Darnold? Turns out both.
Yeah, and they're going to keep Byron Leftwich around.
Yeah,
and so he was the guy that was calling the plays last year, I believe.
Yes.
So yes. I think the Bucs are just going to be back to being good.
They're going to be really good. They're going to in the NFC. Like they now the craziest part about it is Matt Rule is the longest tenured coach in the NFC South.
That is crazy.
Right. So, I mean, and you look at the flaws of the other teams, and then you have Tom Brady and the continuity. It's like, all right, Bucs will be in the playoffs.
I'm going to miss seeing Bruce Arians on the sideline with his face turning progressively redder as the season goes on.
Yep.
I'm going to miss the strap that he had across his stomach.
It's also fun just to say BA.
BA, yeah. BA was cool. He had awesome hats, good transition lenses.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the front office now, which I think I think what the Bucs ended up saying was, all right, Bruce, you can still come to games, and it will be an open bar for you.
Right, right. Well, you can be in the suite with the Glazers, and you're good.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And if you want, your parking spot stays there. If you want to come hit the hot tub whenever, you're good to go. Schefter got paid. That's the other news. He got paid. He's staying at ESPN.
Congratulations,
We lost
Schefter.
in the bidding war.
He's done a tremendous job increasing his own value over the course of the last couple of years. So
yeah,
it would have been weird if Schefter went to like a gambling company.
Yes.
And everybody would just completely 100% doubt every report that he put out.
They'd be so mad all the time, myself included.
Yeah, and it would be weird for the most powerful information broker in the NFL to also be working for a company that sets lines. You know what? This is a benefit if you're a gambler. Because if you work for a company like MGM, then they would adjust the lines before you were able to get a good hit on it. So we all actually won in Adam Schefter's negotiation.
Yes. By the way, PFT, Quigg just texted me, look how beautiful this is.
That's very handy. So it's about the size of a debit card?
Yep, and it's double-sided, and I'm going to tweet it out so everyone can walk around with their Coach K factoids.
I like that.
Yeah, just doing something for the people. Anything else before we get to Judd Apatow?
Leroy reported that Tiger Woods is coming back to play in the Masters. He had a hot scoop, hot source. He said that he's like 85% sure on it.
Okay.
So that's more. That's
up
way
15% from an hour ago.
That's way more sure than he usually is on this type of information. So he is a ghost dog, but he's also a good dog. So we're rooting for him to be right on this one.
All right. I mean, it's going to be great if Tiger Woods is playing in the Masters.
How do you boop a ghost?
I don't know.
I think I'll buy a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Just write boop on it.
Should we bet? Can you ask Leroy if we should bet on
Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
I will.
Okay.
I'll check in with him.
I think you kind of have to for the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though the odds are probably, it's probably bad odds because everyone bets on Tiger Woods, but
I don't
imagine if he won.
I think that the PGA Tour, golf in particular, is probably the toughest sport to say, like, hashtag PGA rigged.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that the actual golfers have to do. There's no referees.
And we have Max Homa on next Wednesday, so we'll transition quickly from New Orleans to the Masters. Great interview with him. We already taped it. He's going to make the cut. He's going to make the cut.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get to our interview with Judd Apatow. Before we do that, PFT, you had a quick word from one of our sponsors.
Yeah, before we get there, I want to talk to you about Mountain Dew. I got my Mountain Dew Spark right in front of me. This year, Mountain Dew signed a new roster of athletes, ballers with personalities as bold as their flavors and the ability to ignite a stadium full of fans in an instant. They're the unsung heroes of the Mountain Dew Spark Squad, and they were given a special mission this March. If they scored in a game where their team wins, Mountain Dew would dump a truckload of free Mountain Dew on campus for Hoops fans to enjoy. The Mountain Dew Spark Squad had fan-favorite players Carter Booth of Iowa State, Avery Hughes of Arkansas, and Andrea Catramatos of Baylor. Unfortunately, despite some heroic efforts, our Spark Squad member teams have been eliminated from competition. But this is the good news. Mountain Dew still wants to honor these awesome athletes. So, Baylor, Iowa State, Arkansas, be on the lookout for Mountain Dew on your campus in the following weeks. They're going to bring a truckload of free Mountain Dew to your campus if you're at Baylor, Iowa State, or Arkansas. So be on the lookout for that. In the coming weeks, Mountain Dew will be there. And now, here's Judd Apatow.
Okay, we now welcome on recurring guest, Judd Apatow, in person. Last time you were on, it was via Zoom. You have all your work from the pandemic out this week. It's basically everything is out.
Stacking it.
So 329 Sicker in the Head, his new book is coming out, and a bunch of new interviews with comedians, and I was reading about it, and in-depth interviews with some people that everyone knows, great conversations, and then your new Netflix movie, The Bubble, coming out on April 1st.
Yes.
So everything is out right now.
And there's more. In May on HBO is a 2-part George Carlin documentary.
Okay, so we could say Judd Apatow's in the news this week.
Workaholic. Well, I like to get it all done at once because if I spread them, I gotta go do all the press
Right,
again.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I just stack it all up.
It's
Exactly.
smart. It's Judd Week this
Yes.
week. So what's the one, if you were to tell people, what's the correct order to consume everything that you're putting out? Is there a
Interesting.
beginning, middle, end?
Interesting. I mean, I think it's a pretty good order because you'd start with the book. You'd learn about the people who make comedy, their problems, their emotions, their process. Then you'd see The Bubble. We'd all commiserate about what a nightmare a lot of the lockdowns were, how crazy we all went. And then you'd land at the George Carlin documentary as he dissects what is wrong with society. That would be
And
the
George
flow.
Carlin is a great person to have a documentary about because every time like something happens in the world, George Carlin has a stand-up bit that's like, oh, he predicted this, or he's exactly correct about this.
Sometimes in like 1971.
Yeah.
Like and it is really weird that a man who's been dead for about coming on like 14, 15 years, when things happen in the news, he trends worldwide because of just a video where he was the commentator on it, and he either predicted it or just captured what was fucked up about
right. And it's always perfect.
I also feel like with Carlin and Orwell too is kind of like this, where anytime something happens, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, people like cherry pick things that he says, and like, see, Carlin would have been on my side on this one.
Right.
Because he was a free speech absolutist. He thought that less speech was much more dangerous.
Yeah.
And he also came from an era where you could go to jail for speaking your mind or cursing. He would get fired from clubs and concerts if he spoke out against Vietnam, things like that. So, but he didn't live long enough to see algorithms and YouTube and Facebook and the way things get distributed and how people are hypnotized by what's going into their feed. And I asked his daughter Kelly, what would he think about all of that? And she said, there's no way to predict it, and whatever it would be, it would blow your mind.
Right.
But she's like, there's no way to know what he would make of it.
Yeah, you can't say like, oh, he would have hated this, like, definitively, because you don't. That's the genius of George Carlin, is he has a take that's no one else had thought of.
But he basically was disappointed in people. I mean, that was his thing. He was an idealist who became sad that we didn't take better care of each other, didn't take better care of the world, of the planet, and he felt like, corporate interests were taking advantage of all of us and wanted us dumb and just dumb enough to help them make money. And that was his general philosophy.
Okay, so maybe he would have hated it. Maybe we can say that.
I think he's been proven to be extremely correct about everything.
Yes. So I want to. We said it right before we started that we have a problem with King of Staten Island, which I love that movie.
Yes.
And I don't want him to get blackballed because he didn't ask us to do this.
Yes.
But you cut too many Jimmy Tatro scenes. He's a good friend of ours.
We love Jimmy.
Nah, do you?
Well, here's the thing. When you do a firehouse and you got 8 guys in the firehouse, what you're trying to do is give everybody a shot to score.
Right.
But if you let one person fully dominate, then you got 7 large men mad at me.
Right. Right.
And so, but yes, Jimmy is so hilarious, and it's a favor for us, for him to be in the movie. And there's definitely moments when you're shooting and you're like, I wish that this movie had a major Jimmy storyline.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's a big star and should be a bigger one.
Yeah.
But that's a frustrating thing for me generally, even in the bubble. There's so many incredible actors and actresses, and I think they all have their shots and they score big, but most of them deserve their own movie. And that's kind of how I work. Like Jonah Hill has a couple of lines in something like 40-Year-Old Virgin, and then we go, I think he should be the lead of the movie.
Right.
And then we try to, with people, figure that out.
What do you do with all of that footage of, because reading about it and obviously watching all your films, there's an element of letting the camera roll, and I think you even said Fred Armisen in The Bubble, like when he's going, you just let it go.
Yeah.
What happens to it afterwards? Is there going to be a project at some point where you go through it all and because I'm sure there's hilarious moments that we never see?
Well, like we put together this 5-minute documentary about Fred's character, the director of this dinosaur action movie, who won Sundance with a movie he made while he was working at Home Depot called Tiles of Love. And we have all this extra footage of him directing everybody. And so that's online. You can find that maybe on the Bubble Instagram or something. And so we keep making fake documentaries about the Cliff Beast world and about our world making it, and then we'll put up all the deleted scenes somewhere on YouTube or something. I mean, Blu-ray's gone. It used to be a fun place to store all of that, and I don't think that the streamers have decided that they want it there. So unless you're like a Criterion Edition Blu-ray, it's a little trickier.
Yeah. Do you think that the switch that we've kind of been forced into over the last couple of years, watching movies at home, do you think that's something that's going to, that's the new normal, that's here to stay? Or do you think that something about going to the movie? Because I went to go see House of Gucci a couple months ago. And, that's not really a movie that you need to see on the big screen. But the experience of being in a movie theater is something that, like, you forget how much better it is until you actually go experience it again. I feel like we've kind of reached that point now where it's going to take a big event or a big, like, blockbuster action movie to get everybody out of their own homes to go to a theater to watch it. I just hope that it doesn't continue down this path, but it kind of feels like I'm fighting against windmills if I try to, like, get people to go back to the movie theater,
I don't know what'll happen once people are feeling better when the pandemic feels really over. Because I remember before the pandemic, there were like big movies like the Tarantino movie and maybe it was the Wes Anderson movie before that. They just made a fortune. They were like really big movies. And people wanted to see a good movie, an original movie. And so, like, I saw Licorice Pizza in L.A., and I thought in normal times that would probably be a pretty big movie. I don't know what it did now. I saw The Batman the other day, and that was incredible in a movie theater. And you would hope that just like young people go, oh, I love the experience. Maybe I'll go see a comedy in a theater next, and not I just need to see, crime.
Yeah, we saw Jackass Forever in the theaters. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's true. That's
a lot of fun.
I got to see that. That's my favorite stuff.
Oh my God.
The best.
It's awesome. We always talk about how you could play that type of movie for anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe going back to caveman times, but like any culture.
My cat.
Yeah.
My cat will laugh at it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what I go to when I want a hard laugh, because a lot of comedy is like emotional or, like you don't really laugh, but you appreciate the joke. And, there are only a few things like Sacha Baron Cohen's work or Jackass where you actually lose your shit.
Yeah, you can turn your brain off.
Yeah.
We
laugh.
We did a 2000s comedy draft on one of our podcasts here called the Dog Walk. Obviously, your films took up like 65% of the entire draft board, but I took Superbad #1 overall in the entire draft. I think that if I were to ask you, like, out of all your movies, would you agree like that is the funniest of all of them?
I mean, that's right up there. I mean, it's tricky because, we work so hard into all of them. But I remember when we showed Superbad for the first time, it was at in the Valley, like in Burbank. And I asked Cameron Crowe if he wanted to come to give us notes. And it was the first time an audience had ever seen it. And the place exploded. It was like a Led Zeppelin concert. I mean, it was the hugest reaction. So that's always right near the top. The other one that I think holds up is Will and Adam McKay's movie Step Brothers. I feel like that one is just aging very well. Every time it's on, you just can't shut it off.
Yeah, and I remember when that one came out, people didn't like love it right away, and then it slowly became, this is an incredible movie. Yeah.
That's a movie that gets you through like some rough nights.
Yeah.
If you're having a bad night and you put on Step Brothers, it's gonna do something.
It's a stop on your TV movie. It's like Goodfellas, Step Brothers, Shawshank. If you see it, you just stop and like, all right, this is what I'm doing for the next couple hours. So, your career has been incredible. You're now 30 plus years into it. Is there a point where
that sounded terrible?
But it's 30 plus years of incredible work. Is it harder though as you get older and like, you're obviously have wealth and you have fame and your, life is kind of settled. Is it harder to find that creative itch like constantly? Is it harder to be funny when everything's more like, okay, you're not this like 20-year-old trying to scratch and claw your way to the top? I'm always fascinated by that because it does find at some point in someone's career, it's like, all right, I've reached it. What do I do now?
Well, you can just say, I just want to do nothing, right? Like that could be like if you love leisure. I don't really have a hobby. I don't want to golf. I don't do anything that's very time consuming. So I'm always interested in how can you make these movies better? Can they be deeper? Can they be funnier? Like, how do you go hard funny? Like with The Bubble, it was like, this is like, I don't know, it's like a Mel Brooks Tropic Thunder style movie. Like, I've never done that tone before. It's a little less emotional and a little more nuts. And there's no way to know if it's going to work. Right. So it always puts you on your toes because how do you know if a joke's going to work? There's every joke, like with drama, you can kind of tell when people are going to cry. Like, you know when people are going to feel. You could do it, not the best version, but a joke is a mystery every time. So it always keeps me interested, and I always think that you can do it better somehow. So I just never lose interest in it.
Okay, I mean, that's a great answer. I mean, that's kind of, I guess you're right. Like, you get to a point, like, unless you have these hobbies, what else are you going to do? You're just going to try to keep entertaining people. That, along that line, the bubble, like, a lot of it, or piece of it is the idea that, like, famous people, actors, comedians, they always have to be on for the people and hit that, dopamine rush of, I made someone laugh. During the pandemic, was there anyone, you don't have to say specifically, but that you knew or in your life where it's like, oh, they're kind of falling apart, not being able to, like, hit that button constantly?
Oh, to get there.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we struggled with it too. You know, we didn't have sports. We talk about sports most of the time. There was times where we're like, this really sucks.
We
don't have
minds.
sports. Like, we reviewed stupid, reality shows and like.
So Big Cat created a fictional video game coach. That would play in games, and he was a college coach named Coach Doug's, and he would compete and like go through full seasons. And because people had nothing to do, that was the only sports that they could watch. So it was like, we've lost our minds. We're like,
we had 150,000 people watching me play a fake national championship game online.
But it's like confetti and cigars and shit.
Yeah, like trying to find that thing of like, what do we do? Did you struggle with that? And did you see other people struggling with that?
I'm trying to think of like what other people were doing. I mean, I think that we're all crazy enough to just start working. I mean, the thing about comedy is you could just take a year to write a script. So the world could shut down and you could just go in your room and create some fantasy land. I mean, for me, I look at it like, wow, that must have been a real 2-year nervous breakdown if I worked on a 4-hour documentary, a book of 33 interviews, and a feature film that I made in a year from the moment I thought of it till I handed it in. Like that's...
Yeah.
That's like, I should seek help.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it during it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just thought, oh, we're making a movie. It's nice to get out of the house. And yet I'm juggling the other projects. And Billy Eichner's gearing up to shoot. And you don't realize what you're doing till 6 months later when we're talking about it. Like, that's a lot of stuff over a short period of time. I guess I really didn't want to sit in my head and think about life too much.
And it's also, to think about it. In the moment, you're not like, you just got back to work. You found a way to get back to work, which did fascinate me with the pandemic, because there was that moment where it was like, a month or 2 months, 3 months into it, it's like, all right, so what are we going to do now? All right, let's try to figure out a way to get back to work.
Yeah. And I guess, I think there was probably a moment in the beginning where I thought I was resting.
Right.
For a few months, like, oh, I can shut it all down. This is so nice. Maybe I'll just interview some people. I'll just interview a few people. Maybe I'll just start outlining this movie. And next thing you know, you're in London, like building dinosaurs.
Well, that's just like what you do. You know, like you can try to stop it, but eventually you'll find your way back there. I was reading your Wikipedia page. That's how I do most of my preparation.
It's all on there.
This is probably extremely accurate, but it said that you were you did 4 tracks on Adam Sandler's 1996 comedy album, What the Hell Happened to Me. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
So
I'm part of that. I'm a part of Cock and Balls. I'm part of Sex or Jim.
Yeah.
I play the cop in one of the cop sketches. I'm on 3 or 4. I think I was one of the writers on the song, Steve Polychronopoulos.
Great tune.
So that was a funny moment because, Sandler, especially at that moment, had so much energy to make stuff.
Right.
And he loved being funny, and he loved making stuff. So the second there was a pause at SNL, he would just go in the studio and just start making sketches and making songs, and he just loved it so much. I think he also enjoyed that he could get some of the best musicians in the history of rock and roll to make these epic comedy rock songs like Waddy Wachtel from Stevie Nicks and Warren Zevon's band, and he's got like John Lennon's drummer, and he really enjoyed it, and there's just so much energy in those records. I think they hold up, and they get crazier as they go on.
Yeah.
Like the all songs ones are really funny. I mean, the Goat Opera, come on, people, listen to the Goat Opera again.
I mean, that to me growing up, that was one of the one of the like focal points of me and my friend group was, okay, somebody would get their hands on an Adam Sandler CD, and then we just sit around listening to it. Like that was a very big part of comedy culture back in the mid 90s. I don't see nobody's really making sketch comedy albums anymore.
Yeah, not in a while. Norm Macdonald made one back in the day. Not a lot of people know about that one. Medium Pace. Remember that song?
Yep.
That was a real good one. Yeah. What was the last great sketch comedy album?
I don't know. Eminem always puts a few sketches in between his tracks.
Yeah.
Those are hit or miss.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the next move.
That's the next thing.
Yeah. We're gonna get back to Judd in a second. Before we do, I want to talk to you about Visible. Save today by switching over to Visible. It's wireless where you get family plan savings, no family needed. If maybe you're right out of college, maybe you're in your mid to late 20s, maybe you've been on your family plan for a while, you're used to that discount that you get from being just one of many lines, guess what? It's time now to break free. Start on your own, get a new plan, and you can do it for family-type savings. It's that easy. With Visible, you get a single line, unlimited data, talk, text, and hotspot for as low as $25 a month, 5G included. Tell me another wireless carrier that's doing this right now. You can't do it because it doesn't exist. Bigger carriers have single line plans that cost double what you would pay for a single line plan at Visible. With those other carriers, you'd have to make some serious long-term life-changing commitments like marrying your best friend just to get a deal. But with Visible, you can save from the start. No family or awkward personal commitments needed. Check out Visible. You can get it for as low as $25 a month. That's a single line, unlimited data, talk, text, and hotspot. For data management practices, learn more at visible.com. Additional terms apply.
Do you ever worry about like how your comedy ages? I know that's a shitty question, but like we obviously, we're not you, but we're in the same line of we produce content every day, and then if you're like, oh, what'd you say this 5 years ago? It's like, well, I don't know, it's a different time.
I mean, for me, I really always thought that it was about immature people. So all the bad behavior in there is very purposeful. Like if you watch Knocked Up, they're trying to start an internet site that tells you where all the nude scenes are in all the movies, and they think they're geniuses for it, but it's in there because we're trying to show that when you're young, you have a few years to be a knucklehead and bounce around with your friends before you try to behave like normal people behave. And when he gets Katherine Heigl's character pregnant, it ends instantly. He loses that time of his life. And so there's a lot of things in it that I don't think are good, but they're kind of bad because I want him to need to stop.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of showing it. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
So as you were getting started, and I know that you like wrote for SNL, things like that, I would assume that most people that get into comedy do so because they want to perform their own comedy. And for you, you were a writer. You were writing jokes for other people. Is that something that kind of you found yourself going down that path, or is that something that from the get-go you found yourself being more gravitated to collaborating with others as opposed to making it for yourself?
Well, I never got on SNL. I always wanted to get on SNL. I got some bits that I wrote. I wrote a monologue for Roseanne and some things with Adam that got on, but I was never there as a writer, which I always dreamed of doing. I created the Ben Stiller Show with Ben, the sketch show, and that was the main sketch thing that I did. But I think early on, just because I was such a fan, I just knew that I wasn't going to be like Jim Carrey. And anyone would feel that way. You'd watch Jim Carrey as a young person go on stage and improvise his entire set and all the stuff he could do physically, and his ideas were so bizarre and amazing. And I would watch him and think, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And what am I going to be able to do? Because I can write for that. I could help him with that.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to be able to do that. And then I would see somebody else like Sandler, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that either. And there's, just like in any profession, any creative profession, some people are just way better than everybody else. I mean, if, I just met Kenneth Branagh, and you're like, yeah, there's a reason why he's Kenneth Branagh. He's better than everybody else at this thing, or Denzel Washington. And that's how I felt as a comedy fan. I knew who the ones were that were going to break out. And I never looked in the mirror and said like, and me.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's awesome, though. I think that's like a lot of comedians or a lot of people who are into comedy, like Big Cat was alluding to earlier. They love the dopamine rush. They love, making somebody laugh, making somebody like them as they're performing it. But there's other ways that you can get that similar sort of satisfaction. And I guess maybe for you, was it the satisfaction of creating something that brought joy to somebody else and watching them enjoy something that you had a hand in making as opposed to delivering yourself?
I think I had to let go of the idea that I was going to be able to do some of the things that they did as performers. And later on, I got to do a Netflix stand-up special, and I just hosted the Directors Guild Awards. So I get a little taste of being a stand-up comedian, more in a Carl Reiner tradition of hosting and things like that, which, by the way, I love. Like, I get to be funny on stage. I do all these events at Largo. But I wasn't going to be electric. And I did have fun thinking of things for people like Jim Carrey because, I remember I wrote a sketch with him for In Living Color that they did. There was like 4 or 5 sketches that we wrote together. One was Dickie Peterson, Cherub of Justice, which was a little bit of a precursor to the Cable Guy. And it was just like kind of a loser guy who protected a 7-Eleven. And he was just in a 7-Eleven wandering around protecting it from anyone who might come in and try to steal anything. And they did it on the show and it murdered. Then they did it again. And so I would have these moments like, wow, I got to write for the best comedian in the world and see what he would do with it. There was another sketch where Jim was a self-defense instructor and he keeps giving a knife to the women in the class and saying, okay, I'll show you how to protect yourself. Come at me with a knife. And they would say, really? And he's like, yeah, come on, you won't be able to do anything. And then every single time they do stab him. And it was just a very silly sketch, but Jim is the best performer ever. And yeah, the thrill of seeing that made me realize, I do enjoy that. The fun of watching Fred Armisen be funny in The Bubble is pretty up there.
Yeah. So, Freaks and Geeks, high school drama. You create that. It's set in 1980s. Your daughter now in 2022.
That's right.
Is in Euphoria.
Yeah, that's strange.
That's a little bit of a change in high school.
Yeah.
What have you when you watch Euphoria? You're like, is this what it is now?
Well, maybe the Euphoria thing was happening in Freaks and Geeks, but the geeks never got to see it.
Yeah.
They were not invited to those parties.
It's shock. I watched the first. I have yet to watch the second season of Euphoria. I have 2 young children, and I'm like dreading it because I'm like, it's going to even be worse in 10 years when they go to high school. So
yeah.
I mean, do you see that and you're like, whoa, times have definitely changed.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is very different, but I guess on some level, if you really broke it down, there's elements that are the same. I remember that Paul Figo, he said that in high school there were some kids that really wanted to grow up and be adults, and they were trying to act like adults, and then there were other kids trying so hard to stay children, and they really were scared to death of everything and loved being little kids, and that's a lot of what he was writing about. So some of that is the same thing. I mean, Euphoria is a lot about like trauma and the trauma of childhood that leads you to make a lot of bad decisions. And the second season is pretty incredible because it all builds to an idea that's kind of beautiful and emotional and surprising for how shocking so much of it is.
Right.
That he had a large thought. It almost feels like the 2 seasons is one big idea. One idea. But I'm very proud of Maude. I mean, she really does some remarkable work in the second season.
Definitely.
Do you think there is such thing as the Judd Apatow cinematic universe? Is there a storyline like 7 years from now? Are you going to release a film and it's like, this is what I've tied together throughout the last 30 years of my career?
It's interesting. And just everyone is in one thing. Well, I love like when we do like This Is 40 off of Knocked Up or Get Him to the Greek off of Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Like anytime we can spin out something, I get a kick out of it. I don't know how many will get into the same thing, but it's worth trying.
I think that there's enough theories out there on Reddit and just on the internet at large where they've probably already connected the dots for you a little bit. But it's always funny seeing people do like the fan theories that if you present them to the people that actually created it, they would read and be like, these people are insane.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would be fun to try to make a movie where people just keep crossing through like Erica, the woman who worked at the Quickie Mart in Superbad that got robbed, and just like, all right, I'm going to start thinking. I never thought about it in this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now
Just time
I'm thinking
altogether.
about it. Like the last season of The Wire, I remember like there was a big montage when The Wire ended. And then you saw that one cop who had met this stripper season 2, and they'd show him, they've never shown him before. He's married to her.
Right.
And there's
Right.
a bunch of those that happen.
Yeah, it's like Pixar does that, right? They put like a little tickler to the next movie coming out. Where like if you watch Toy Story, you can see a car in the background that's gonna be Cars.
Oh wow!
And it's mostly people who have too much time on their hands, like just really going through these movies. So The Bubble, which again is out April 1st on Netflix. Was there any moment while you're filming this, because it's obviously a movie about doing a movie during a pandemic, but you also are literally doing a movie during a pandemic. Was there ever a moment where you got like confused with yourself? You're like, wait, so this is
Which one?
so it's like Mass Protocols is a joke, but we also have to follow this. Like the whole thing. I think there'd be moments where I just get confused on my own idea.
I think the main confusion was, is this funny? Like there would be moments where we would be shooting something, and it would be about like the stress of being cooped up. Say, like we have 2 montages where people have to do their 2-week quarantines, and everyone is losing their mind, and we're montaging them falling apart. And so it was a lot of improvisations of just people exercising or watching TV or crying or drinking alone or masturbating, and then there just would be a moment where we'd look at each other and go like, is this funny or just real?
Yes, this
right. Like,
I actually tried to fuck that screen in my hotel room last night.
Shit.
Yeah. So was there anything that got added to the movie as you were experiencing the actual quarantine, where you learned or you had an experience in the bubble and you're like, this is funny enough where we should actually put this part into the movie?
I mean, in a way, it's the whole movie is that. We would have a conversation about something, and then it would go in. And a lot of it was, is it worth making a movie right now? Like, is it worth the risk to have a crew and make a movie, or is it actually not worth the risk and we shouldn't do it? And then that's what they're saying in the movie. Like, no one needs Cliff B6. We already have 5 of them. And you could say that about The Bubble, but we're also making The Bubble while making fun of people who think that they need to make a movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then we would be like, but don't the crew needs work. Like,
right.
Like you can't shut down everyone's ability to make a living. And the crew's thrilled that we're making a movie. And we kind of need a job, and I think people need something to watch. Although, is that arrogant to think they need this?
You're doing the.
This
are we the baddies?
This is where my is where my confusion. Yeah. I can see you.
Like, am I an asshole for thinking I need to provide this movie? And then they say that in the movie. They're like, we're very important. We're as important as first responders. We're like giving people distractions. We're bringing them joy. And then are like, is that what we think we're doing?
Yeah.
And we kind of do, but we're also saying that we're assholes for thinking it. And then your brain just explodes.
Yeah. Yes. So you summed that up perfectly.
I have a general gripe against Hollywood. This isn't you specific. I don't actually think that you fall into this, but I'm using you as a proxy for Hollywood.
For everyone.
The entity. Why do all movies have to be 2.5 hours now? Why can't we just do a 90-minute movie?
I mean, everybody has lifted up. I personally was always a fan of like the 2:05 comedy, because when you cut to 90, you lose most of the character work. Mm-hmm. So I was like, if people could sit for another 10 minutes, you really get a lot out of that 10 minutes. And some people give me a hard time about it, which I don't mind. When I see them on TV, I'm glad I did it. But the 2:35 to 2:50 thing has really exploded a bit. But I have to say, having just watched The Batman, I really enjoyed it.
It is crazy, though, to see a movie that's like 2:45. You're like, I don't have the time for this. And then you just watch 5 episodes of The Office.
Exactly.
And you're like, wait,
what?
That's
what I would always say, because people give me shit. Your movies are so long. I'm like, and then you'll fucking watch 4 hours of The Bodyguard.
Yeah,
or whatever
right.
show
Oh,
you're
it happens
watching.
every time. And you're just like, wait, what did I do?
Or you just sit on your phone and you watch 2.5 hours of TikTok in like 30 seconds. That's actually a good idea for a movie. Just curate TikTok and then put it on a big screen, and so everybody sits down.
This is where it all ends.
And
I
gets
think
the
Rob
community.
Dyrdek did that already.
Who did?
No, I'm just kidding. Rob Dyrdek.
Oh yeah. No, you just sit in front of a big screen, 30-second clips for 2.5 hours.
That would be good.
But certainly I've seen movies and I'm like, God, how long is this fucking movie? Thinking I'm in like hour 3, and I look and I'm like 38 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, usually it is if you're in a world you love to be in, a lot of times you don't want to leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Avatar. Have you considered making a movie that's so visually appealing that people leave the theater and want to kill themselves because they don't live inside your world?
That's when the movie's good.
Yeah.
Well, now that I've made some dinosaurs and I understand like how it works.
Yeah.
I finally have done some special effects and some action. I did create a world. So, and it's so funny because I'm working with all the CGI artists, and they're the same people who make like the Jurassic dinosaurs. But because we're a joke, they're pitching jokes, and they're so happy to pitch jokes.
Right.
And they're all like, what if their balls explode? I'm like, yes, good. You finally can get that in a movie.
Yeah, what's that process like if you're working with a CGI person? Like, do you see the initial like screen of what the dinosaur is going to look like, and you're like, you know what, could his testicles be bigger?
I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of time I spent designing the penis of the dinosaur. I may have spent more time on that than writing the script, because there's a whole funny joke about what the penis of the dinosaur looks like, and we're like, it should look a little bit like it's translucent like a jellyfish, but it glows like an alien. And Fred has a whole monologue about it, like it doesn't look like a normal penis, and it is maybe the most detailed penis you've ever seen in film history.
We have actually a consultant, Billy Football, is really into reptiles and amphibians.
Yes.
If you ever need a guy to tell you how to make
Different penises.
Different penis, he's your cock guy.
All right, so one last question. It's the Roback question. Go to roback.com, use promo code TAKE. You get 20% off. We have a Q-Zip for you if you want it. It's unbelievable. Roback, RHOBACK, 20% off with code TAKE. All right, we play this with every celebrity, athlete, anyone who comes in the studio. We play this game. It's called When Was the Last Time You Deleted a Tweet?
Oh, that's funny.
When was the last time you deleted a tweet, Judd?
I deleted one this morning. It was, it was about the environment.
I like your strategy, just ignoring. That's the way to go. With
Well,
Twitter.
you got to ignore it because the truth is 20% of everybody hates you at all times.
Correct.
And then every once in a while you just say anything, and then people love to attack. Even if you say the most simplistic thing in the world, like maybe we shouldn't punch Chris Rock. There's a lot of people who are just like, what?
Yeah. Next time, just a tip, you should just do our good friend Adam Schefter. You just tweet assault. That's what he does whenever he sees assault on a screen.
He just writes it.
It's assault, period. Yeah. That's it.
I mean, the thing about Twitter also is like everything disappears in a day and a half.
Right. Yep. Especially when you delete it.
Yeah. And also when you delete stuff, like last night, I just also found it funny. Like it was just like you just start writing like your jokes on what's happening.
Yeah, no, it became open mic night on Twitter.
Yeah,
yes.
and which is fun to just read like, okay, what is the joke on this? And then at some point you're like, oh, I've lost my mind. I'll just get rid of all these. I mean, I don't need everything to live everywhere all the time.
I like that.
But people take things seriously in ways that you don't mean seriously, other than, I go to award shows. I'd like to feel like the stage is safe.
Yeah.
I'd like to feel like we can do jokes.
Wouldn't it be fun if it was just like, hey, this award show, if you win an award, there's one person who's going to win an award tonight that will get slapped.
Well, how about this? What if the whole award show is basically the set of Mad Max? And it's Thunderdome. And it's all Thunderdome.
Wait, are you talking about like Celebrity Deathmatch where all the A-list celebrities? Yes, I would watch that.
Well,
absolutely.
next time you come on, I can explain my entire theory that there should be a rule in professional sports that every athlete gets to fight one fan a year because it just keeps everything kind of, like one fan that goes crazy and starts yelling at someone. It's like, all right, come out here. I'm fighting you in center court.
This is the debate America's going to have right now.
Yeah. Should we fight one fan a year?
Just like, what are the scenarios where those lines get crossed?
Yes.
Or what you could do with your Twitter, I do this when I have a take that ages extremely poorly. I just copy Jay Williams' tweet when he claimed that he got hacked.
Yeah.
So you can just say that you got hacked and say, as it relates to my Will Smith tweet that came from my account a couple hours ago, I did not post that, and my passcode has now been changed.
Yeah. Or what I do whenever my teams lose heartbreaking fashion, I just pretend that I'm selling PS5s online. So
and then you feel better?
Yeah. No, because everyone's like, oh, he's hacked again. It's like, no, I just tweeted.
Yeah, exactly.
But Judd, this has been awesome. Thank you for stopping by in person. Again, The Bubble out on April 1st. Sicker in the Head out March 29th. and the George Carlin documentary coming out in a few weeks, right?
Yeah, and I'll be at the 92Y with Rami Youssef this week. I forgot what day it is. Thursday? Wednesday? Thursday? What? Thursday?
Thursday.
And then we're screening the movie Wednesday at the Paris Theater in New York if you want to see it on a screen with me talking afterwards.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Big news, guys. You can now listen to the SXM app at home or anywhere you are. You can stream it all on your phone. You can stream it online. 425 channels are waiting for you on the SiriusXM app. Enjoy ad-free music channels for every genre, artist-dedicated channels, and much, much more. Never worry about missing any games because the SXM app has live play-by-play of games from every major sports league, like the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL. You can stay informed with world-class news from every angle. You can hear the brightest stars in entertainment with original talk and exclusive comedy. Only on the SXM app. The SXM app exclusives include ad-free extra music channels, podcasts, including SiriusXM app originals, and on-demand video of in-studio performances and interviews. Subscribe now. Get your first 3 months for free of the SXM app. Visit SiriusXM.com/pardonmytakeoffer to sign up. Offer details apply. Again, visit SiriusXM.com/pardonmytakeoffer to sign up today.
Okay, let's wrap up. We've got Fyre Fest of the week. Hank.
I got a couple.
Yeah?
One is a dryer fest.
Your dryer's broken?
It is like I have to do 2 cycles of drying.
Do you
for it to be
remember to
dry.
clean out the lint filter?
Yes.
Are you
I thought
sure?
I did.
Are
I
you
did this.
positive?
I cleaned it out. It was really like there was a
Yeah.
lot in there, and I'm like, oh, I fixed it. Did not fix it.
Have you tried unplugging it and then plugging it back in?
It's kind of in like a closet where you can't. Like I don't even know how I would go about doing that.
Okay.
What about the where the air goes out? That's probably full of lint too.
I got to look back into it. It's an issue because usually in like 3 hours you can do multiple loads of laundry, but it's like I can just do one load of laundry in like in 3 hours, and then I'm always behind in my laundry. So that's my dryer fest. And then my other Fyre Fest was.
Wait, so are your clothes wet right now?
No, I just have to like it takes a long time to dry anything.
You've been looking damp recently.
Yeah, you're really damp.
Like kind of moist.
Hank's been coming down to the content floor and just has like a smile on his face. Like, get the
Well,
fuck
because
out of here,
I
you
know
suit.
Big Cat just looks over me and then just like in 1997 in 2 for NC State. Do you remember that one?
I went upstairs last Friday to talk to Hank, and I asked people upstairs. I was like, "Where does Hank work?" And people were like, "Hank works upstairs now." They didn't know, and so I walked around trying to find somebody that knew. And I had to have somebody escort me to the other side of the entire floor because Hank has his own wing upstairs.
What?
I don't have my own wing.
No, Hank.
I just put my desk where there was no one else because it's quiet up there.
Hank has probably 30 desks and for himself.
It's me and Enrique.
It's a good look.
Damn.
Anyway, I saw that laser tweet, and not really thinking about it, I said that soccer is a joke, like the fact that your spot at the World Cup is determined by a fucking penalty kick with laser beams getting shot in your face is a joke. And I didn't really think about it. It was just a fact. And then, I just can't go on Twitter.
Oh, the soccer
I had to
heads
mute.
are out.
I don't mute notifications. I had to mute the notifications.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
It was absurd. Like the discourse going on was too much.
Well, Hank also.
There's no argument. It's a joke.
But that same thing happened to the other country when they were playing in a game.
That's a
earlier.
joke too.
Yeah,
The
secret is a joke.
sport is a joke.
It's not a joke. The sport's
Imagine
a beautiful game, Hank.
to go to the World Cup or the NHL finals. It was penalty kicks, and also there was banana peels on the ice.
That'd be kind of funny.
That'd be very funny. Yeah,
But
the
a joke.
NHL should implement
Yeah,
that.
it's like
But a
it's
joke.
Savannah Bananas.
Yeah.
The
No, you're
soccer
right.
is Savannah Bananas.
I mean,
the entire sport.
But counterpoint, you're 12 yards away. You should be able to make a penalty kick even if they're laser. You should do that with your eyes closed.
There
You
were
should have
so
seen
many lasers.
yeah, and people are like, you don't know what that does to your cornucopia and all this shit. Like,
Cornucopia.
whatever.
Yeah.
Cornea.
But how about the lads? Are you at least a little
No.
bit excited about the lads?
I was rooting for 5-0.
Well, that wouldn't have done anything and had to be
6-0,
6-0.
whatever.
Yeah, well, it's coming home.
I just wish
Make it out of pool play, and I'll watch.
We do make it out of pool play frequently. We just always lose to Ghana.
I just wish it was on during the summer. I like the World Cup in the summer. I get into the World Cup in the summer. The fact that it's in the fall is like, come on, man.
If you just say it's coming home enough, it becomes more exciting.
Damn. All right, your Fyre Fest PFT.
So my Fyre Fest of the week, I actually just found out about maybe 2 minutes before we started taping part of my take. And I'm a little bit concerned about it. So we are getting on a flight, and I'm boarding the flight in about 5 hours, 5.5 hours from now.
What's going on?
My ID is expired.
Oh, that's okay.
That doesn't matter.
I thought I also
You're
thought
good.
it was like weather related. We all were going to die. Just
No.
you have a problem? That's fine.
Yeah, no, it's me. It's my Fyre Fest.
Yeah.
And
No, you're fine.
also my passport is expired. So
You
Okay, but I'm not even. So the flight is one thing because I have clear. It's TSA pre-check on steroids, and I'm more concerned about the fact that once I get to New Orleans, I won't be able to get into certain establishments because I've expired identification.
Or your hotel
Mine's
room.
been expired for like 6 months.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're fine.
Actually, you know what? It's New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably the one city you don't need to even be alive to get
Yeah.
put into bars down there.
I've
Pull
gone
up
on
your
to
Instagram.
Yeah, I've gone on to you can get into the airport without an ID. Period.
Yeah.
They just like go through your whole life.
That was me in Nashville.
That was me in Minneapolis when I found Bubba asleep in a sauna.
Mine was in Vegas too. I think
Yeah.
it happened to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can. I mean, they just ask you 10 billion questions and like pat you down and look through all your luggage.
Yeah,
but
about
it happens.
like old relatives
Yeah.
of yours and shit, like
Well, you
shit that
can
you
do
would
it.
never know.
But
Yeah.
you guys don't think it'll be a problem to get into bars in New Orleans?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
No.
All right, cool.
No.
All right,
No,
Fyre
you're good.
Fest over.
Yeah.
That's the fastest Fyre Fest of all time.
My Fyre Fest is pretty simple. It's just a pre-Fyre Fest. I really don't know what I'm gonna do when Duke wins on Saturday night. Hank is insufferably smug, and people who like I can't remember who I was talking to. Someone was like, "I'm surprised Hank." Oh, I think it was Roan. He was like, "I'm surprised Hank didn't shove it in your face after the Texas Tech game." I was like, Hank knows by now that he can just sit in the room with a little smile on his face, and it will drive me 10 billion times angrier than if he just like yelled in my face.
This one's also a lot easier because, like you said, you're not even gambling it because it's emotional. Like the game of the year, I know that it's like
There was
it's
a lot of money.
It's
yeah.
partially losing, but it's also like you lost money, so it's tough to be like ha ha ha. This will just be pure laughs,
Yeah.
pure joy.
Yeah, I'd be ashamed if
times.
the CLP loses. Duke is in it.
Yeah, but that's just witchcraft from you. Like that's
it can't lose. It literally can't lose. It's in the name. It would be a shame.
I think
be a shame if Kansas was the reason it lost.
Yeah, that would actually really suck.
the worst possible situation is if Duke wins in the semifinals and then loses in the national championship.
I feel like you've said the worst for me, worst possible situation.
No, I'm just saying I don't for the podcast in general because then we get kind of the joy of Coach K losing a little bit.
Right.
But also Hank's
I would
upset
take
because
that.
Duke doesn't win, but it's not like a full celebration.
Oh no, I'd take it.
I'd
fully celebrate.
I would be tickled pink if Coach K lost to UNC.
It's the biggest college basketball game since Magic Bird, and also Gonzaga Baylor,
Yep.
as told to us by Rico Bosco. Billy, your Fyre Fest.
So I was trying to catch a train, and when you get to the station, you see how long it takes before the train leaves. I had a good old 0 minutes till it left, so I had to get through the turnstile. It was all going to plan. Get down the stairs. They were giving out the doors are now closing. Full send it into closing doors. Get in. Foot gets caught in the door. Face plant, kind of.
What?
But honestly, I don't like to think of things negatively. I fucking made that train because
Yeah.
the next one was in 36 minutes. I would have been late.
Whoa.
So that was a pretty awesome move. But I did just fall in front of a lot of people.
This would be what, your third time unintentionally ending up on Subway Creatures?
Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah. The
The funniest thing that people ever do to us is send us pictures, screenshots of pictures of Billy that are on other popular Instagram accounts where they don't know that it's Billy doing
Right.
it.
I love the best. You're all over the place. I thought you were gonna say you ended up getting on the wrong train. I've done that where I've just
Yeah.
hauled ass, hopped on, and then looked up and been like, "Whoops, wrong train." Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a positive in the end.
Yeah.
You made the train.
You made the
Exactly.
train. You made the train. All right, Jake.
One is happening to me right now. I'm trying to print these little things for you, and I'm having issues.
What?
Yeah.
Well, no, Memes said he's gonna print it. What's
Yeah,
what?
I'm talking to Memes.
Oh wait, he's having issues.
He asked me to do it because I have connection to the printer, but
Fuck.
having issue with the
System's falling
double-sided
apart,
thing.
Big Cat.
No.
I'm gonna keep trying, but
No.
How many do you need to print up?
I just wanted to print them for us, but I want also the people. I'm going to tweet out the link so the people can have it.
I mean, at the worst case scenario, we can
I
just
just
make
tried
them
again.
ourselves with our handwriting.
I asked Memes. I'm gonna ask Memes to pick them up.
Okay.
Bring them in.
Or take them to
See if it
Kinko's.
worked.
Yeah.
God damn it! I hope this works. My plan. This would really. I got to use everything I got. I have everything I got going against them.
And then also, back-to-back meals the last 2 days. They just forgot my meat on my salad.
What?
Yeah.
You've been meatless?
Yeah.
I walked into me and Jake went together to get salads the other day, and he walked in like the king of the castle.
Yo, they know him. Yeah, it's like cheers for
there
him.
was a line out the door, and Jake just bypasses them, and the worker who's in the middle of making a salad just like turns around, grabs his food, and it's like, here you go.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? No words spoken.
You ever make
man.
small talk
I
with
said
them?
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever like chat them up, or is
Double
it just that
sportsmanship.
they
No, they're very
recognize you?
busy, so I just say, hey, thank you.
That's
Have
nice
a good
of
one.
you, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But no meat. So how much
No
can they
meat.
really like you?
I know, but it's okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
They're good to me.
If anyone gets this right, this number right, they get to declare who's going to win the title, and
6.
it will be right.
91.
22.
25.
95.
I want to switch from 69, but if 69 hits, I'd never forgive myself.
Just say 69.
69.
No one's going for the three in a row.
What was that? 72.
Or 76. Come on.
24.
It's a great number.
Close. As the person who was the closest.
All right, 25.
Yeah. So you
Do we want to
decide
jinx?
it.
Do we want to jinx? Or do
What?
we want
No,
No,
Jake,
you have the
do
power
it.
What's
to
your bracket
decide.
say, Jake? What's your bracket say?
Jake, you do it.
What's your bracket say?
Don't be worried about what Big Cat's going to do.
Don't be worried about what Hank's
Yeah.
doing. You have both of
I'm
us.
asking
This is
you what
Jake.
you've said
this
in
is
the
you.
past.
Jake, decide.
Tell me
3,
about your bracket.
2, 1.
Duke's winning?
No! Oh, you fucking asshole!
Jake, that's your boss.
Damn it.
You know what you just
I
did?
understand.
You know what
I've been wrong before.
Do you know what you've
Shit,
done?
man. Why? This is your fault now. It's your fault.
It
that's
is.
a loser.
No,
it is.
no,
That's a loser.
No, it
It's
is.
your fault.
I
It
love
is
you,
100%
I
your
love you
fault.
so much.
If I said
If Duke wins,
UNC,
Nope, your fault.
the mob
Your
comes
fault.
after me
Nope,
saying you
nope,
jinxed it.
nope,
If I
your
say
fault.
Duke,
Nope.
Jake,
So it
Thank
really
you,
is
Jake.
a loser.
Very cool.
I hope
Very
you know what?
cool.
Coach K should let you cut down the nets with
Very
him on
cool.
Monday because you have just as much a part of it as Paolo Banchero.
Very cool.
I mean,
Brutal, man.
Jake.
We're starting the college. We're ending the college basketball season the same way we started it.
Yeah.
Just letting me down.
You know that what you've done is you've just highlighted yourself as the main scapegoat. Now,
it'd be a shame
Duke
if I'm
wins.
wrong.
It would be.
You're not gonna be wrong.
I know.
You have superpowers. I know. You don't even believe it. You don't even believe it. That's our show. We'll see everyone on Sunday night.
Love you guys.
Ben Franklin originally wanted the turkey to be the bird of America as opposed to the bald eagle.